Joined now by Glenn Cook, our old buddy. Good to see you, man.
Good to be seen.
It's it's good to be seen,
Listen,
man.
you've been seen all over this town, raising a lot of eyebrows of late.
No.
A lot of people, what's Glenn doing here?
No.
How
no.
how has this thing changed from your very first experience, going all the way back,
Yeah.
to now?
Well, I think part of it is I also see it from a different seat. Like this is my 15th year in the league. My first year, I was actually a scouting assistant for the Colts. So, home game was commuting back and forth from Zionsville to come down and like run for coaches and grab players to interview and make sure that there was food in the suite, stuff like that.
Yeah.
To now sort of being in the room, not sort of, but being in the room. And so from that standpoint, it's a much different perspective.
Yeah.
You get asked to give 5 to 10 minutes a lot more when you're walking down the hallways to young kids aspiring to get into the sport. So from a personal level, it's a very different vantage point. I think from the combine, it continues to evolve, right? They're adding different drills. There's new metrics being gathered that we have to consume and make sure that we're up to date on and understand how, understand the methodology behind it, understand how it impacts maybe how we view the players 1 to 2% differently. But for the most part, it's still the same.
Yeah.
Like you're getting a chance to meet young men a lot of times for the first time in person, away from their normal environment of college where they've been it used to be for sure 4
Right.
years.
Yeah,
but,
right.
They've been in college for 4 to 5 years now. So you're getting to just sort of hear firsthand experience on what they went through, what they've learned, what they've done, how they've done it. And that doesn't change,
Yeah.
right? We're all humans. We all have our unique ways about ourselves. It's good to learn and good to know as we try to understand and figure out who will be the best players for our team.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not changed significantly, but definitely on the edges. There's new stuff that
Yeah.
as you get older, you get stuck in your ways. Like, why are we doing this? Why'd they change the times of the formals from the evenings to now splitting it in the morning? So that some of that stuff is kind of been tweaked, but for the most part, it's been good.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy about those formal interviews? What are you hoping to get out of them?
I was talking about this at the women's forum yesterday. One of the most rewarding things for me, aside from like the players that we draft, is just generally to sit in draft meetings. We just went through draft meetings for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, where we really download everything we know about the player to that point, background, how they grew up, parents, life, situation, how their career in college evolved, right? So you sit and you hear 300. I think we went through 358 players, 360 players. You hear every single guy's story,
Yep.
and everyone has a unique story. And for me, the most rewarding part is to see 4 years down the road the success cases and how they played out. Because you hear the different types, and we all have faced adversity in our lives, but you hear the different things that everyone's gone through, and so you just root. You just root for you want everyone to succeed. You want all 300 plus players to come to the NFL and have a successful career. We know that's not realistic, but for me, I'll get a chance to sit in the formals and listen to this young man tell me about why he wants to be an NFL player, what drives him, who in his life drives him, whether it's a child, his parents, his family, his hometown, and then see that play out. You know, and you root for that. It's awesome.
Is there some, like when you go and you look back at past seasons, as you've now been in 15 years, and you look at the guys, oh man, I really like this guy, I'm really glad he's successful. If it's somewhere else, to go back and find, maybe see if you can identify a connective tissue between the guys that actually do go on to be successful and the ones that, man, I really like this guy, and I'm shocked that this one didn't work out.
I mean, I think it's subjective.
Of course.
For me, it's probably like when what the feeling you have when you meet that significant person who will become your spouse. You can't really contextualize it on paper.
Yep.
But it's a feeling.
You just know when you know.
It's just it's a feeling. So for me, it's the same thing when there's certain guys you sit in the room and they captivate you in a way that's different than other players. And it's not to say the other guys won't be good, but there's a few guys every year where it's like I want to keep talking, you know, like I want to
Yeah.
actually go hang out with this dude.
Yeah.
Or I actually want to go play right now because of the type of energy, and it's so organic, it's so natural. You just feel it.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that, for me, stick with it. There's a couple that, I mean, I don't want to call out any
Yeah. No,
specific.
of course. Yeah.
There's a couple guys. There's one specifically that I remember. I still can, like, see it because there was this, like, calm intensity that he brought in our session for those 18, 20 minutes, and it was like, oh, this dude's real. And you knew he was going to go on and be successful.
Yeah.
And you would watch them play, but that it sort of just, like, puts icing on the cake when you meet him. It's like, one, I get it now. I get why he is the way he is, but
Yeah.
also, like, and you can't say never, but there's no way this guy won't be successful based on, you know. And then, you know, there's statistics and data around interviews and
Yeah.
why you don't put too much weight on them, and et cetera. And I understand that, but then there's some that are so good
You're just like, this is
where it's like, yeah.
because you said what 358 guys that you went
I
through.
forget the total number this week who's here, but it's like 300 plus.
I recall 300
Yeah.
plus. Then
Yeah.
you go down to, and you're going to have on our actual board is
Yeah.
going to be a very small subset of that, which I think
Yeah.
people don't really understand.
Right.
Yeah, you could probably cut it in half.
Cut it in half, and then probably cut it in half.
Or cut it 40%, yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, yeah. You get medical information, you get other information. So
Then you
it
come
gets-
here, you guys talk to 40 guys. But I would imagine that most years, which is so cool about the NFL, I remember Alex Wright, for example.
Mhm.
It felt like we left Indianapolis and we're like, Alex Wright's going to be a Cleveland Brown. And then he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of those, you know, where we all have our favorites. You know?
The pet
you know?
cats.
Yeah, yeah,
The pet
yeah.
cats,
And you
yes.
just lock in, and it's like, we got to find a way to get that.
Yes.
You know? And you obviously want to do it in a way that doesn't put you in a bad situation.
Proper value
from
and
a
all that.
resource standpoint. But it's like, this dude's a Brown, to your point. Like, this dude's a Brown. Like, he's one of ours. Like, he fits. So those are the easy ones.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of times where you're trying to figure it out. You know, you have different pieces of information from the school, from high school, from college, from your scouts' first interaction, maybe at all-star games. There's still guys you're just trying to figure them out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But then there's a few where it's like, that's a Brown. You
Well,
know?
and the other metric that's changed here is in a lot of these cases, these guys have played for at least two teams, sometimes
Yeah.
three.
Yeah, yeah.
You said 3 or 4 year guys. I mean, there's 6-year guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
all of these other variables to measure over the last 3 or 4 years because the college game has changed so dramatically.
Yeah.
So when you think about getting to know a guy, I wonder if these are more important than ever now because for some of these guys, they played for 3 coaches.
Yeah. The plus side of that is you have many more touch points that are not just one place. And in some of those situations where you did have players stay, it was extremes, right? Either everyone loved him,
Yeah.
even if there was not a unbiased perspective on him, or, you know, maybe his early career didn't play out as well and he kind of couldn't get past that first impression that he made.
Yeah.
Now you get a nice blend of, hey, this dude's been at 3 different schools and there's 3 different perspectives.
Yeah.
And honestly, they all piece it together. You have the early kid version. You have the second place he went where he started to figure it out and flourish, and then the last school where they probably got the benefit of all the development that he had at the other schools.
Yeah.
And so you just get the story line written for you in a different way than them staying at one school for
Right.
4 years. So it can be challenging because now you're trying to
Sift through it all.
connect the dots at different
Yeah.
places where it used to be a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to understanding, okay, how this person comes into a new locker room? Let's say somebody goes 3 schools, 3 years, right? And they keep kind of going up in stature. How they come into a new locker room, how they're able to adjust to a new scheme, because likelihood they're coming in the NFL, you're not going to be running the scheme they were at. But on the flip side, you don't get to see somebody grow in a scheme where, okay, now I can play fast. I've got it. I'm not thinking. You talk about on our leap, the leap from year 1 to year 2 is typically you want it to be pretty immense. And so these guys aren't getting that. I would imagine that really kind of you have to do probably more projecting on guys that go boom, boom, boom in some sense of what it looks like. Now, their tape may just be that good, and everybody may just love them, and that makes it easy. But I'd imagine that's a little bit different because you don't really get to see these guys just stay in one place, grow, get comfortable, and then blossom.
So the cool part about it is the guys are typically transferring or moving now for a couple of reasons that are similar to what would happen in the NFL. So it's NIL related, so it's a financial
Yeah.
decision. It's a playtime decision, and it could be a combination of this, or it's just like, hey, the relationship with the university, we'll call it, is just in a place where they feel like they should separate, right? And so you're getting a good rep at that
Yeah.
situation to
Yeah.
see how he handles it. It's like, okay, hey, you had said player at a group of 5 who played really well, transfers to a power 4, gets a significant NIL, and also has much more significant expectations put on him.
Sure.
How does he
How do they
handle
handle
that?
it?
How does he walk into it? How does he endear himself to new teammates as a leader, as a guy who's making probably like being one of the highest compensated players on the team? So you're getting a good rep of like, hey, it's the same thing if you sign him as a free
Big
agent.
free agent, yep.
He's been with a different club for a few years. You're going to make a significant investment. How does he integrate himself into the locker room? What type of guy is he? What type of leader? How does he handle his resources that he's been given? So in that way, it's
Like Quinshon, right? Quinshon last year going to Ohio
Yeah.
State,
Yeah.
high profile, big
Yeah.
money, wins the national championship.
yeah, and we had a good sense of how he would integrate into the league because of that experience.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Ole Miss played out a certain way. He wants to go to Ohio State. It's a change, probably more power 4 to power 4, but it's a change in scenery. You're going from the SEC to the Big Ten. He's playing in a different offense. He's also playing with another pretty good player in his room.
Yep.
So just how did he deal with all that? And we thought he handled it really, really well. Because a guy who's as competitive as he is, he could have probably been like, hey, I want more touches. I like Travion, but
Yeah, but I came here
I
to
want more touches.
give me the rock.
But it's been great. Like he was able to show that he could, be a good teammate, but also be a big contributor to a good team.
It's funny as you're talking about all of that, it hits you because I obviously talk a lot about college football, and one thing that jumps out as you were going through all that is college football's problems are the NFL's benefit, because what you just described is we now know how is he going to respond to money. How is he going to paratroop into a new situation where he doesn't know anybody? How quickly can he learn a new scheme? You're now getting that
Yeah.
from your minor league system.
Yeah.
And while the minor league system, people in that world are like, this is chaos. We got to change everything. The reality
It's
is
pure free agency
it's
every
pure
year.
free agency every year. But the reality is for the NFL, now it's several more data points that we have on what makes this guy tick. You don't have to have that conversation for a lot of these guys. Like, how's he going to handle that first big contract? They've already got it.
He's already got it.
Yes.
They already are handling. How do you handle money? We know.
Yeah.
He's already got it.
Yeah.
He's already got that.
And many of the young men in college are starting. They're creating their own team.
Yeah.
So you
And agents.
understand who's helping influence certain decisions. How are they making decisions? To your point, they're getting 7-figure deals in college. We don't. That's something we no longer necessarily have to project. And also, it's caused us to probably change our onboarding, I'll call it, process with the players, because it's a different conversation.
Totally.
It's a totally different conversation. They understand. I would hope like taxes already.
Yeah.
Like they're setting aside money to taxes. They're reading contracts for people they're employing. So it to your point, it has benefited us in a lot of ways that we probably don't even appreciate.
Yeah, it just hit
It
me
is
as you're
pretty
going
cool.
through
Yeah,
all that. I
no,
was like, wow, what an incredible data points that you have that you didn't 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't have them.
Yeah. It's again, I think we're happy we're not dealing with that every single day. I think that would be really,
No,
really
it's
difficult.
chaos.
But it is a good thing here. For people who want to understand, just could talk about the board, because we're not going to talk about any specific guys. Obviously, you're here to do work, and we have, it's nice to have 2 first-round picks. I'm sure you're very excited about that. 3 in the top 39. How do you guys kind of stack? We hear that term, stack the board. How do you stack it? Is it purely anybody who's a blue is only blues can be above reds? Like, how do you guys actually truly stack it, and then how do you filter in the need component?
Yeah. So our stacking process goes from honestly September to April, and it's just phases. So the first phase right now, like Max, our college director, he's done a great job with helping us get to this point. Like, our area scouts are on the road. Everybody knows this is out getting a bunch of information, both trying to assess the talent level, but also the person
Yep.
and the quality of the person. and they're like the foundation of where we start. They submit their grades. We get a good feel for what the general landscape of the class looks like. And then we get in the draft meetings, and that's where we kind of say, okay, we'll go position by position alphabetically. And just you're trying to tier talent level to start. Like, of course, it's all opinions and educated opinions, but, hey, I think this guy's better for this reasons. I think this guy belongs in this group of players at his position. And you're blending probably at that point talent and also probably where you're going to take them or where you would need to take them, because you also probably can get a sense of how the general
league
NFL views them. And then that sets the tempo for the spring. We'll do that at each position, and then now all these other touch points really update so that they'll come here. We'll meet many of the guys. It kind of helps us coordinate. Okay, who do we want to use these first round of 45 interviews to spend time with? We'll get medical information from the combine,
which
in
is
terms
big.
of the players. We'll get some testing based on the guys who participate, and then from there it's like, okay, well, we got 30 more visits that we can use to spend either additional time with someone we met with at the combine or use it on other players, right?
And there's a balance in that, right?
Yeah,
you're trying smoke screens, real, and
some teams smoke screen a lot more than others, but and then you get your first dump of true follow up on the medical, and I think from there that's when you start to factor in, okay, and then also our coaches have now placed in reports by that time. Obviously, our staff kind of got put together a little bit later, so we pushed back their deadline a little bit. But we'll eventually have all their reports in and then start to have conversation on fit. And then you bring all that together, and then that's where you really tweak the board to say, hey, I get it. So-and-so player may look good to the league in this way, but we actually value this player more at the position because of all these things. How we feel about his health or the risk from an injury standpoint, how he fits into what we're doing, his mental and physical and emotional and personal makeup, and we bake all that in. And that's kind of where to your point, we've gone from really that 175 to 80 or 70. Andrew probably has even a more distilled list, probably in the, I don't want to give his number away, but a more distilled list. But from a board standpoint, you can kind of know, okay, there's probably 70 guys we'd love to have on the team, or at least as options for guys we take, based on everything we need and want.
And with a new coach coming in, with Todd coming in.
Good having him back, by the way.
Huh?
Yeah. It's good having Todd back in the building again.
Todd just so much energy. So much energy. He just bounces around the hallways, you hear him before you see him. There's just a lot of energy, so just definitely happy to have him back.
Is that good when you guys you're saying, okay, when you talk about the coach's input, what are you looking for? You're running this offense. We all know that we need to score more points.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's probably a huge misnomer that personnel and coaches don't,
of course they do.
Talk it off.
Come on. Jeez.
I don't know any place, any organization where there's just not communication on hey, because from our standpoint, it's hey, we want to understand to the best that we can what we are going to do in all three phases.
Yep.
Right. And then what do we need to accomplish that generally, and baking in our own team. You know, so it's hey, if we want to play a certain way, it's if you want to be the Warriors and shoot threes, you need 3-point shooters. You know? If
Steph Curry's helpful.
Yeah. If you want to play bully ball, you got to go get people that can bully people. So once you understand, and we've done Todd's done a good job, and we're continuing to just work through the nuances of it, but we understand what we need in all three phases, and so for us it's how do you fit our resources, our needs into accomplishing that the best over the next cycles, right? Because you're not going to do it all in one year, or you won't do it all in one area. We have free agency coming up, we have the draft, but then you have guys will get cut in or released in June who didn't get the post June 1 cuts early. Then you have trades that happen during training camp, early parts of the season, so that we're always just building it,
adding little pieces here and there.
So for us, it's just okay, what makes the most sense in the draft? What makes the most sense in free agency? And what could we sort of like fill in with trades. So
We see you all the time, but it's great talking to you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
I love
buddy.
it. Love
it.
Appreciate you. Great Glenn Cook. Thanks, pal.
appreciate it.